Question number 1. How can I gain muscle without gaining weight?
That's a good question. It's a good question, and I think a lot of people like this is gonna hit a lot of people at home. You know.
All right.
So I think I want to start off with this one. So I think people want both things to happen simultaneously, and it's not that it can't happen, because you could definitely, especially the way that this is worded, you can definitely gain muscle without gaining weight, and often this is actually what happens in the beginning when people are trying to lose weight and they start strength training.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually, I could think of several of my clients that are going through this right now, where what we do is we start them off at a maintenance with calories. So when I talk about a maintenance, it's this has a lot to do with nutrition. Depending on how much you're eating, if you're going over your caloric maintenance or if you're under it, so if you're creating a caloric surplus or a caloric deficit, it's going to play a big role in if you're going to gain weight or not. But if you're in maintenance and you're starting to strength train, this is often what happens. You will gain muscle and maybe the scale won't move. So you will
Recomp.
Right, you will recomp.
Yeah.
So that's what this question is really going into. But I want you guys to.
When I read this question, that's actually not where my mind went. My mind went to the person that wants to gain muscle and they want to look better, but they're scared of the weight on the scale going up because they associate that with a bad thing.
I think that's the way that this question was asked.
Yeah.
I just want, but absolutely.
Which,
I think
by the
that's
way,
what they meant.
my answer to that would be, forget about the damn weight, dude.
Yeah.
Like, build your muscle. Like, the weight is only a measurement of the mass of you against gravity.
Absolutely. I think that especially for a person that obviously this person sees the value of building muscle because they're asking this question. So somebody's already, made that imprint with this person. So yeah, what Nick said is absolutely the answer. It's not worrying about the number on the scale, because what if I told you that you could look the way that you wanted to look, but you would not move on the scale?
Right.
If you looked in the mirror tomorrow and you saw the results that you wanted, but the scale still didn't read the number that you wanted to read, would you be happy? I think that most people would be happy. I think that people are married or have a relationship with the number that they don't quite understand.
Yeah, the thing is that what I've seen is people try to get back to that number when they were at their quote-unquote peak, when they were younger, with like 17, 18, 19, 20, in their early 20s. And so all of a sudden, when you're presenting this to them, that they're going to gain muscle mass, but not gain weight, they're like, wait, because the times that I've gained weight, I don't look any better. Mm-hmm. But it's just, they have to trust the process that, we discuss with them. And eventually, it's just trust. And then eventually when they get to that goal, it's going to be even better.
Weight matters a lot less than you think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot less.
Absolutely. And what body composition really is, like your weight, you can look vastly different at the same weight. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean that it's very hard to fully change your body composition. I think we should answer this way. It's very hard to change your body composition while maintaining weight. If you really want to make significant changes, there are going to have to be some fluctuations over time. That doesn't mean that you're going to have to gain a ton of weight in order to build a ton of muscle. But it does mean that you're going to have to kind of give it a little bit of a trade-off. You're going to have to stop worrying so much about if the scale comes up or not, because maybe the best route for you, especially if it's somebody that is under-eating, like if they're already under-eating, let's say that this person is eating
1,000 calories.
Right, 1,000, even to 1,500.
1,500 per day.
Even if you're eating 1,500 per day, and so what we would call that, I would say that that's pretty low in a caloric intake. If you can't lose weight and you're already eating that low, then I would suggest to increase your caloric intake, simply because it's going to be better quality of life as well. So it's going to be easier to cut once we increase that maintenance.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And your maintenance can be increased. And a lot of people, I think there's a lot of controversy about this, the whole maintenance thing, like how much muscle, like if you build a pound of muscle, how many more calories? Let's just put it this way. I weigh 160 pounds. I eat over 3,500 calories every single day. And I know that this is just one case, and obviously I have my genetics play into this and everything, but I need to eat over 4,000 calories in order to gain weight.
That's ridiculous.
Now, why does that happen? Right, great. That's awesome. For me, it's not so great because it's a job and I want to gain weight. But the reason that happens is because my composition, I have the ratio of body fat to muscle, or to just lean mass in general, is very low. So I have very low percentage of body fat. Most of that weight is muscle, is lean body mass. So that's going to, and not just that, but my lifestyle. Not only am I a trainer, so I'm picking up heavy things throughout the day just to help out my clients, but I'm also training regularly. I'm not going to say every day because I don't train every day, but I train very regularly, and I train for strength. I train in a manner that tells my body that it doesn't need to get more efficient at burning calories. It doesn't need to burn less calories. It can be okay with burning a ton of calories for the things that I'm doing. And I also do that by allowing myself to eat. So I'm at a place now that I can have so much freedom with my diet because of the way that I train, because of the way that I eat, and I don't have to worry about what the number on the scale says, because actually I want to weigh about 20 pounds more than what the number on the scale says. But I love how I look, and I love how I feel, and I love how I perform. So that's ultimately like what you should be looking at, and not so much at the number on the scale.
Right. Because even then, that number changes daily.
Right.
So why torture yourself?
Exactly.
Because one day you might drink some more water, another day you drink less, so you weigh less. But the day that you drank more water, you weigh more. Or if you ate later, and you usually weigh yourself pretty early in the morning, you haven't fully digested your food, so it's still in your stomach, and that is counted for when you're weighing yourself, because the scale doesn't really know how to differentiate between muscle mass, water weight, bone. It's just
it's just one number.
It's just a number. It's just a number of all together.
Man, I stopped weighing myself after my powerlifting competitions. As soon as I'm done with prep, I used to weigh myself every day beforehand.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I just look in the mirror and be like, probably decrease my calories a little bit. I could probably increase them a little bit.
Yeah.
But that also comes with a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
Once you have been doing this for a little bit, it's like I can eyeball most things.
Right.
You can even like eyeball food sometimes.
That's what intuitive eating is. So I think we can hit on that, because I think a lot of people like hear that word and it's buzzing around a lot. Intuitive eating, right? But in order to be a good intuitive eater, you have to first develop good intuition when it comes to nutrition. And the way that you do that is by
tracking.
Absolutely tracking.
Yeah.
Because you need to understand quantities, you need to understand macronutrients, you need to understand micronutrients, you need to understand the profiles of what that means and which ones you should be having together, et cetera. And also how they affect you, because every person is different in terms of, like, especially when it comes to nutrition. There's a lot of variables when it comes to individuals. So intuitive eating needs to be developed.
It does not mean that you should eat. You should give in to the urges of what your intuition is telling you to go at 3 a.m. in the drawer to get a cookie. That is not the intuition that we're talking about.
One of my pet peeve that I have of some influencers that I hear, like fitness influencers, speaking about, you just gotta listen to your body. And
how many people do you think are listening to their bodies?
It's like no, I understand what the fitness influencer is talking about. Because once you understand about the profiles of the food that you're eating and the micronutrients and all that stuff, then you know what you need. So they understand, but I don't know, these fitness influencers seem to not understand that they're speaking to people that have never done what they've done when it comes to tracking food and stuff like that. So when they say, just listen to your body. Just listen to your body. Yeah, my body right now is telling me it's an Oreo, so I'm going to listen to my body.
Yeah, but that's why they're influencers. They're not coaches.
Nick, I want to ask you a question because of what you said. How long, before you did what you are doing now, how long did you track for?
I tracked unsuccessfully for 2 years, failing all the time, and then I tracked successfully for 2 years.
Okay, so a total of 4 years attempting to track your food.
Correct.
Gave you the confidence to start making decisions without tracking.
Yep.
Yeah. How about you, Jose? I know you still track.
12 years.
Yeah. There you go.
Damn.
There you go.
12 years.
I've been on and off 5 years, maybe 6. But again, the first 3 years were every single day almost neurotic. And also I did a bodybuilding competition, so I got down to like some numbers that really helped me understand what a small difference can make in terms of macro and micronutrient profiles. Because whenever, and I think we're going to get to some of these questions later, but sodium intake, water intake, all of those things, maybe when you're having 3,500 calories, like the changes, with sodium and stuff like that, you might not notice them as much. But when you're at 1,200 calories, 1,500 calories, you'll notice those
rough,
changes. Yeah, absolutely.
Man, you're trying to train at that.
Yeah. Cold sweats and stuff.
Jesus.
Before we move on, the way that I want to finish this is by giving this person an answer. The way that you would gain muscle without by minimizing weight gain would be to be in a very slight caloric surplus, made up of, I would mostly recommend protein. So that surplus would be,
Would you
adding
say
some protein.
5 to 10%?
Yeah, like 5, 10%. Maybe don't even start with that, but like 5% is a great place to start. However, the
It'll
caveat
be
to that, right, is it's going to be slow, right? So it's going to be a slow process where I would probably say, like, if you were to look at the process, that person A, if they take that approach of very, very slight surplus and just over time and sees very little changes on the scale, versus a person that does what we're trying to appeal to and kind of forgets about the scale, lets themselves gain a little bit more weight because they're gaining muscle, and then starts taking away calories and does a cut, and maybe even cycles through these things over the course of a year. And it's not just like 6 months of bulking and 6 months of cutting, maybe like 2 months of bulking and then 2 months of cutting and then again 2 months of bulking and then again 2 months of cutting. I would argue that person would make greater results at the end of the year than the person that takes this.
I think personally it's a worthwhile approach if you're not a competitive bodybuilder to stay near maintenance.
Yeah.
And take the longer route. Just because it's safer, there's less room for error. You don't have a date that you have to be ready for anything. Like, you're chilling, man. Just take your time.
It also builds good habits.
Yep, that's right. And it's something that's going to be more long term for you.
It's easier too, because what we're talking about is like, if you're the person that like, I want to gain results fast, then you're going to have to, maybe track.